So, I've read a lot of books and watched a lot of videos and lectures on happiness, and I'm here to share with you the foundational things about what I found so that they may benefit you. So, let's just get started. First off the bat, it's said that around 40 to 45% of your happiness is genetic. I do think genetically we do have a typical range. So unfortunately that's unchangeable. The rest, however, is changeable. So there's four big pillars that you want to consider, and they are faith, family, work, and community. I do not think you need all four to have happiness. There's plenty of people who have two or three of the pillars. I think the more the better, but there's plenty of people who are not religious who are happy, and people who may not have good family relations, perhaps just because their family is very toxic or it's uh, unsolvable, or they're very it's a broken family. But let me just break down these pillars. Faith is fairly self-explanatory. Studies have shown that it can improve how long you live. So there's that, and then there's also community. So what this means is uh, charity work, volunteering work, helping and giving to others has been proven to raise your levels of happiness, especially when you spend your own money to help others. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on something that's critical or you know, cancer patients or anything like that. It can just be helping people you know, friends or acquaintances, on even small stuff. And also, it means developing strong relationships with friends and people you know. And there's a lot of science behind this. Basically, we are wired to be social creatures, and being social is very important. So that's community basically. Charity, volunteer work, social relationships, helping your community. The third is family. That's fairly self explanatory, but you want to spend time with your family, give back to them, uh, be an audience to them, and hang around them occasionally, and you know, be around them and nurture them. Self explanatory. The fourth pillar is work. And what I want to say about work is that uh, science has shown that earned value is really what's important. Um, and what they mean by this is that if you can feel like you earned value through the work that you're doing, and the more work you put in, the more value you're earning, that is what will create high levels of happiness. And they've compared people who have similar levels of earned value satisfaction. And even though this person makes 10 times more than the other person, they are equally happy. And so I think that is very important. I don't want to delve too deeply into this topic because I've done whole other videos on finding a passion and interest or a job that you're very deeply uh, you enjoy and you like. But that is a nuanced topic because again, you also have to consider your competence, how realistic it is, and it's not as obvious as you think. People, first off, follow things that they think they love, and then 6 months later, they don't really like it when they realize that you have to do this 8 hours a day, every day. Or there's plenty of people who get into a job based off just the market or opportunity. And it's not the most glamorous job at all, but they learn to love it. So there is some nuance behind it, and it's a mishmash and mixture of a lot of different factors, really. Um, so those are the four pillars, and you will notice that I did not bring up money, fame, status, or uh, getting hot girls. And the reason is because these are fairly ephemeral, and oftentimes they act like cocaine. So, like cocaine, you will need more hits to get the same thing because you get used to it, and eventually you get bored of this thing because it's, you know, normal to you after a while. That nice car, that mansion. Um, For instance, the 10th sports car you buy is probably not going to be as amazingly fulfilling as the first sports car you buy. And so it acts like icing on a cake. Basically, if you have the core foundation, these elements can add to your level of happiness, but on its own, if you don't have these foundational pillars, oftentimes you can still feel fairly empty if you just chase the woman or money and so forth. Um, and luckily, a lot of us just naturally, the rest of us are not so fortunate, but some of us are very fortunate to just stumble naturally into a lot of these pillars and have a certain level of happiness genetically, plus uh, just how you are, your lifestyle is. And kudos to them. But understanding this, you may be able to develop and grow um, your levels better. So obviously, I'm working on these. One of course is community, and so there's different ways of doing it. One way I'm sort of exploring is finding groups of interest that I am interested in, and then going to those things. There's a great website called meetup.com where you can find similar interests. It's not as amazing as I thought, because again, it's still kind of sketchy, not really sketchy, but not that many things going on that I'm really interested in. But it is one of those options, and it's fairly decent so far. And basically, you can find things you're interested in and go to these meetups. And some of them cost some money, others are free, and so you have to explore that on your own. Another is volunteering or charity work. You have to choose the volunteering and charity work that you are passionate about. For me, I'm still trying to figure out, like, is there really anything I'm really fully behind in terms of volunteering or charity work? Haven't really decided or researched that too deeply, but it's something to consider. So again, those are the foundational pillars. I don't think you need all of them, but increasing them can add to your levels. Now I'm just going to add, just again, there's so much I want to say, but for the purpose of a short video, I just want to add a few of the things that I personally have come across that may cut off your levels of depression, especially if you're like me and you have a naturally low range, because there's plenty of things that can push you just naturally to be more depressed or sad. One is cutting away negative influences. One of those influences is depressing music. Now, mainstream music oftentimes, not always, have depressing songs, depressing love songs, or just songs that sound very depressing. And these can be horrible influences on you. So you want to cut this out if you can. Another, at least for me, is loneliness. So we all like our alone time sometimes. For me, for sure. But oftentimes, too much of that, or just certain levels of loneliness, can be really bad, especially if you compound that out with other stuff like listening to the radio and depressive songs come on. So ideally, you want to start maybe moving your lifestyle into one where you are making friends or interacting and socializing with people. Ideally, people that you can get along with and you like, or you admire and respect, and you want to be like one day and all that. But again, don't be too picky, because you can end up just being so picky that you go nowhere. And so those are two big things that I think you want to limit. And again, there's things you want to consider. If you're always going to the gym alone, perhaps you can start maybe going with other people. Or for me, I do think that more social activities, I'm not really sure what that would be yet, but social activities that work, the things I want to work, and allow me to socialize with people deeply, not just on a very surface level where we are next to each other but we're doing our own thing. Those are usually more useful in terms of having more fun. So that leads to the last thing. Again, there's plenty more to say, but again, I just want to cover the foundational stuff and some personal stuff I think have helped me. So the last thing is surrounding yourself with lifestyle elements, activities, and people that put you in a good mood, lift your spirits, make you have a fun time, and slash or make you laugh. And so, some of these people, it may take some time to find. Um, and again, there's many elements where you can, for temporarily, I don't think it's for long term, you can just use this, but temporarily it will lift your mood. So listening or watching stand-up comedy on your iPod or on your computer, or just watching really funny stuff, like a lot of Jimmy Fallon videos I like. For me, stand-up comedy, I'm just very picky about my humor. A lot of things don't make me laugh at all. But for you, it might be very much easier to find stand-up comedian that really makes you laugh. And that can just very much uplift your mood and so forth. Again, because it's virtual, it may not be a long-term solution. So in the long term, you can start looking for people that really really make you laugh, or you really have a good time around, or just you have a blast around and you have a great time and they uplift your moods and they're really happy, or high energy people, and their happiness rubs off on you. Those elements have a huge impact on you. The people you hang around rub off tremendously on you at times. So keep that in mind. And again, I think the last thing to note is just, well, it's two small things, but not really small. Always think positively. Again, there's science backing that up. You will live longer, up to 10, 20 years, if you think positively rather than negatively. Especially if you're one wired to constant negativity. That doesn't mean you can't be a realist and see the negative too. But generally, as far as your day-to-day life goes and so forth, think positively. Second thing is, what is the second thing? Shoot, I forgot. Wait, let me think it through. So positivity, and the second thing is, shoot, I forgot. So moving on from that though, the last thing I want to say is back to the earned value thing. Earned value is basically what I said before about work. Now, I think I want to expand more on this topic to show you what it means. So I do think I get a certain amount of potential happiness from the earned value I get from putting out these videos, and potentially it impacting and helping people watching this video and making their lives better. So that is an example of a one-way earned value can work, because you could misinterpret it if you don't understand it. So in this case, I am working towards something, and I'm putting in work, and I am gaining some value out of it because I know I'm working towards something that brings value to others in my community. In this case, this community is the World Wide Web, but I'm providing tangible value that people appreciate and love and can value. And so that can contribute to your levels of happiness as well. So kind of understand that when you're looking at work. And so finally, I want to conclude with that second thing, if I can remember it. So the first is thinking positively. And the second, oh yes, is gratitude. Be grateful. If you can, at least once a day, maybe twice, when you wake up or when you go to sleep, write down 3 things that you are very grateful for in your life. And again, gratitude has been shown to create more happiness. And so just say to yourself, I am thankful